The Hidden Truth. Daniel's Journey. This is the story of Daniel, a man with a secret life. By day, he is kind and polite, but by night, his choices are dangerous. One day, Daniel makes a mistake that changes his life forever. He learns that actions have consequences, and sometimes they are very scary. Chapter 1. The Secret Night. Daniel walked home after a long day at work. The streets were quiet, and the moon was bright in the sky. He liked the silence of the night. It helped him think. But this night felt different. He felt someone watching him. Daniel stopped and looked around, but no one was there. He shook his head and laughed. "Maybe I am too tired," he said. He continued walking, but the feeling did not go away. When he reached his door, he heard a noise behind him. It sounded like soft footsteps. He turned quickly, but again, no one was there. Daniel opened his door, entered his house, and locked it. He told himself it was just his imagination. But deep down, he felt uneasy. Chapter 2. The Strange Discovery. The next morning, Daniel woke up feeling tired. He had strange dreams all night, but he could not remember them. He made coffee and sat by the window to watch the street. Something on the sidewalk caught his eye. It looked like a small, shiny object lying in the grass. Daniel decided to go outside and see what it was. He walked across the yard and picked up the object. It was a silver key, old and heavy, with strange designs on it. Who dropped this here? Daniel wondered. He looked around but did not see anyone nearby. Daniel put the key in his pocket and went back inside. Later that day, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the key. He cleaned it and noticed the letters RT carved into the metal. He didn't know what the letters meant, but they felt important. Maybe it's part of something bigger, he thought. That night, Daniel had another strange dream. He dreamed about a dark room with a locked door. In the dream, he held the silver key in his hand. He heard a voice whisper, "Find the door, Daniel." Daniel woke up suddenly, his heart racing. He got out of bed and looked at the key on his desk. "What door? What does it mean?" He whispered to himself. Daniel knew he had to find the answer no matter what. Chapter 3. The Locked Room. The next day, Daniel decided to explore his town. He carried the silver key in his pocket, hoping to find clues. The streets were busy, but Daniel felt alone in the crowd. After walking for hours, he found himself near an old library. The building looked abandoned, with broken windows and faded paint. Curious, Daniel walked up to the door and tried to open it. The door was locked, but he noticed a keyhole that matched his key. He hesitated for a moment. Should I go inside? He thought. Taking a deep breath, he inserted the key and turned it. The lock clicked and the door creaked open. Inside, the air was cold and smelled of dust and old books. Daniel stepped inside and closed the door behind him. The room was dark, with only a small beam of light coming through a window. Bookshelves lined the walls, and papers were scattered on the floor. In the center of the room, there was a large wooden chest. The chest had carvings similar to the ones on the key. Daniel's heart raced as he walked toward it. He knelt down and examined the chest. There was another keyhole. Carefully, he inserted the silver key and turned it. The chest opened with a loud creak, revealing a small book inside. The book was old, with a leather cover and the letters RT on the front. Daniel picked it up and opened the first page. Inside, there was a note. Find the truth. It begins with you. Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. He knew this was only the beginning. Chapter 4. The Hidden Message. Daniel sat on the floor of the old library, holding the book. The words on the first page stayed in his mind. Find the truth. It begins with you. He turned the page and saw strange drawings and symbols. One of the drawings showed a map with a red X in the center. Next to the map were the words, "Follow the light of the past." Daniel didn't understand, but he knew he had to try. He carefully tore the map out of the book and put it in his pocket. Before leaving the library, he looked around for more clues. In the corner of the room, he found an old lantern. It was dusty, but it still worked. "Follow the light," he whispered. Daniel left the library and followed the map. The streets were empty, and the wind was cold. The map led him to a small bridge over a quiet river. Under the bridge, he saw a small tunnel hidden behind some rocks. Daniel lit the lantern and crawled into the tunnel. Inside, the walls were covered with writing and symbols. The air smelled of earth and damp stone, and Daniel felt nervous. He followed the tunnel until he reached a large wooden door. On the door, the letters RT were carved, just like on the key and book. Daniel felt a mix of fear and excitement as he touched the door. The door creaked open, and a bright light flooded the tunnel. Inside the room, there was a table with another note. The note said, "The truth is near. Look within yourself." Daniel stood in silence, wondering what he would find next. Chapter 5. The Final Truth. Daniel stared at the note on the table, his mind full of questions. "The truth is near. Look within yourself," it read. On the table, next to the note, was a small mirror. Daniel picked it up and looked at his reflection. For a moment, nothing seemed different, but then he saw something strange. Behind him, in the mirror, symbols glowed faintly on the walls. Daniel turned around, but the symbols disappeared. He looked back at the mirror, and the symbols glowed again. "The mirror shows what is hidden," Daniel thought. The glowing symbols formed a path leading to another door. Daniel followed the path, holding the mirror tightly. The door was small, with a keyhole just like the others. He took the silver key from his pocket and unlocked it. The door opened to reveal a small room filled with light. In the center of the room was a pedestal with a glowing crystal. Daniel approached it slowly, feeling both fear and wonder. The crystal's light grew brighter as he reached out to touch it. When his hand touched the crystal, memories flooded his mind. He saw moments from his life, both good and bad. The crystal showed him his choices, his mistakes, and his potential. Tears filled Daniel's eyes as he realized the truth. "The truth begins with me," he whispered. "I can change my life." The light from the crystal faded, leaving the room dark and quiet. Daniel walked out of the room with a new sense of purpose. The journey had ended, but his story was just beginning.